Hello, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to yet another exciting session of World Blockchain Symposium organized by Archive Network, which is supported by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and state partners, Government of Odisha and Government of Telangana. Also, HnYB is a supporting partner. And just to give a perspective to our speakers who are present for this session and also the audience who are joining now, that World Blockchain Symposium tried to cover various aspects of leveraging blockchain from various sectors, be it for governance, be it for pharma sector, be it for manufacturing sector, be it from BFSI sector, keeping in mind the blockchain standards interoperability when it comes to bringing more trust and transparency. And this session, uh, we will have eminent speakers from various facets of agriculture and technology. We are joined by Deepak Pareek, Managing Partner, HnYB Tech-Incubation Private Limited, who will be playing the role of moderator. We welcome Deepak ji. We are joined by Nabarun Bhattacharya, Senior Director and Center Head, C-DAC, Kolkata. Thank you so much, Mr. Nabarun, for joining us. We are joined by a technology leader per se, Dr. Rohini Srivathsa, National Technology Officer, Microsoft. We welcome Dr. Rohini. Thank you so much for joining us. We're also joined by Juliette, Alemany, Country Manager and Data Scientist, Fairagora, Asia, Thailand. Thank you so much, Juliette, for joining us. We're also joined by Badri, Narayanan, Gopalakrishnan, co-founding partner and director, Infinite Sum Modeling from United States. Thank you so much, Badri, for joining us. And we're also joined by Srinivas Mahankali, blockchain expert and author. Thank you so much, Mr. Srinivas, for joining us today. So without taking much time, I'll hand over the session to moderator of this session, Deepak Pareek, the session on new era of traceability in global agro supply chain management through blockchain. Over to you. Time duration of this panel discussion is 45 minutes. Over to you, Deepak. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot for inviting me and moderating this awesome panel. So hello, everyone. This is Deepak Pareek. I'm managing partner HnYB, a niche management consulting organization focused on intersection of agriculture and technology. I will be moderating this very important session, the new era of traceability in global agro supply chain management through blockchain, which is a part of an awesome event, World Blockchain Symposium. We all know agriculture is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost prosperity, and feed a projected 10.9 billion people by 2100. Growth in the agriculture sector is up to 4 times more effective in raising incomes among the poorest compared to other sectors. Analysis of data on employment in agriculture shows that 65% of poor working adults made a living through agriculture. Agriculture is also crucial to the economic growth. In 2018, it accounted for 3.2% of global gross domestic product. And in some developing countries, it can account as much as 25% of GDP. Coming closer at home, in India, it is between 15 to 17% of GDP. The use of data in the agriculture sector is not new. For past decades, the data solutions in the sector have been engineered explicitly for enterprises and were meant for our own custom business. Data was always seen as merely a supportive function, a byproduct of a transaction that at the end of the month was ingested in huge volumes into data warehouses to generate a report in the hope that a member of management might look at it to see what happened. Agriculture input companies to governments to commodity traders all use data with limited purpose of own options with focus on top lines, bottom lines, or compliances. However, advent of collaborative, disruptive, and scalable technologies like blockchain can extend the role of data to drive new business models. Hence, opportunities that truly will be transformational for the whole sector, including the shift toward the platform-based economy. These new models will ensure high value to a farmer. We always aspire to increase the income of farmers, and with distributed trust, blockchain can achieve that. Contextual data of farming activities, farming inputs, and farm produce are all valuable for different stakeholders of the ecosystem. And with right models, it can lead to unlocking of wealth for the farmer. Farmer will not only see, it will also show data. And that data can be monetized to give him additional revenue. The prospect of transparency in global agriculture value chain management, which is also the topic of our discussion today, is going to be a game changer for agriculture and food sector. And blockchain is an enabling technology to achieve the same. It will ensure safe food to consumers and will ensure fair trade for the farmers. We have an excellent panel to discuss about the same today. I would first like to welcome Dr. Rohini Srivathsa to speak about her own work she's been doing and how she see blockchain enabling the food and agriculture sector in the long run. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for having me here on the panel. As you very rightly said, agriculture is the backbone for India, and with the complexity of the sector, blockchain can really help in terms of helping the farmer, and particularly towards the government's mandate towards doubling the farmer's income, which is a huge focus for the government and the entire entire sector. So, as you rightly said, clearly, given the complexity of the sector and the multiple parties, we really see the blockchain technology as being able to help in terms of, providing the optimization of the food supply chain, providing crop insurance. That helps communicate the loads and the geo waypoints, and helping the price location involve transparency. Traceability, smart contracts, some of those areas are clearly some place that we would like to go to. But I think at the very beginning, the entire transparency of the supply chain is clearly where the importance of blockchain lies. Now, having said that, I think in the country, some areas which require further help is clearly in the areas of organic foods, of being able to provide value to the farmer when they follow more sustainable farming methods. Some of those areas are up and coming, but at the very basic level, being able to help provide the kind of value to the farmer through smart contracts, through insurance, through transaction tracking, and providing that supply chain efficiency are the ways where we see value. Now, as I said, and as you were also pointing out, while the potential for the technology is across the sector, it is still relatively new in the country, and globally we are seeing it being applied in terms of providing food safety, in being able to provide transparency for sustainability as well as efficiency. But I think in India there is still some ways for us to go, and the new blockchain policy that the government has put out, it should be a good booster in terms of helping the country understand the value of blockchain and adopt it for the agriculture sector.
Very well articulated, ma'am, and I fully agree with you that we'll have to catch the global wins for sure. I would like our next guest, Mr. Nabarun Bhattacharya, who is Senior Director at C-DAC. Sir, we would like to understand more from you that what C-DAC has been doing to ensure that, we also catch the global wins. Floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. All of you may know, few of you may not know, C-DAC does anything and everything on ICT, electronics and advanced computing for many societal and economic domains, including the niche domain called agriculture and environment. Related agroclimate also is very much relevant when we discuss anything about agriculture. In agriculture, C-DAC works in Indian context only. And in Indian context, agriculture has got special problems compared to the problems or the issues that are visible for the advanced countries or European countries. Here in India, you have fragmented land pattern, and you have got absolute disconnect in the supply chain, and not only third party, fourth party, fifth party, all intermediaries are actually playing their own roles to really exploit the farmers. And this entire farming community are individual entrepreneurs. So farmers are individual entrepreneurs, And there is a need for secured distributed ledger for them to control the transactions. And there cannot be anything optimum than blockchain to really help not only the supply chain, but also their entire operations of agriculture, starting from soil preparation, then going for this seeding of the whole agricultural operations, then harvesting, then post harvest, and then marketing, packaging, and making it available to the consumers like you and me. To this end, actually, C-DAC has been working in the generic field of ICT in agriculture for more than a decade, and a number of solutions, these systems, products have been developed, starting from robotics and mechanization and automation, on-field automation, IoT-based precision agriculture. Then we have developed the electronic ways of quality measurement, like in agricultural quality or food quality. Actually, quality assessment techniques are entirely subjective. You try to buy an apple from the market, you just see how it looks, what is the shape and size, what is the texture, and if some fruit has got some smell, you put it near your nose to find out whether it's smelling, the desirable smells are there. And if the vendor is kind enough, he will give you a piece, you will taste. But the entire, all the perceptions, human perceptions, all five perceptions, it is human dependent and subjective. C-DAC has developed electronic nose, electronic vision, electronic tongue to objectively and rapidly measuring the quality. That is quantification of quality also for agricultural produces, especially cash crops like tea, this rice, that is our aromatic rice, etc. So to make things shorter, this C-DAC has started working on the traceability management, aiming at the outcome of food safety. In our country, food security has been ensured by public distribution system, 2 rupees per kg rice, etc., wheat availability. There is no problem of availability. But what we are eating, food safety, is not at all assured for you, because there are pesticide residues, there are antibiotic residues, there are a lot of microbial presence in the food that you have. So we have already embarked into a pilot, right from land to the fork, and it's not only agriculture, it's for dairy products, it's for animal husbandry, all kinds of this meat products and poultry products. Everywhere there is a need to monitor right from beginning to the end, even during transportation. What was the temperature of that particular vehicle? That also is monitored, so that the customer, when you buy a packaged food, you know the total history right from farm to your fork. So this kind of work we have started on a prototype, but please know that blockchain technology in agriculture all over the world is in this kind of status only. There is no hugely rolled out solution as of date, but various states in the country are trying to have solutions in supply chain management and also the traceability management. And we are playing a very, very active role with the support of our Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. So this is what, in this short duration, I wanted to highlight, that C-DAC is very much into the game of IT in agriculture in general, and blockchain-based smart precision agriculture in particular. And this agriculture does not only mean something farming on the field, it means the goatry, it means the piggery, it means the poultry, it means the forestry, it also means the dairy. So with the entire gamut holistically, we are trying to look at it. I think I'll stop at this point. Thank you for your patience.
Thanks a lot, sir, for explaining what C-DAC is doing in smart agriculture, precision agriculture, as well as in blockchain domain. It is heartening to understand that like already the work is going on, and we believe we could be among the first few nations who's been able to create a national database based on blockchain for all the farmers in India. And that is what also my vision is. Next speaker, I would request Badri, because Badri, I'm so sorry, we have to wake you up in middle of the night to talk about blockchain. So the floor is you. We would like to understand from you, because you have been crunching a lot of data on your research, that where do you see blockchain playing a vital role when it comes to agriculture in India in general and in traceability in particular?
Yeah, thank you, Deepak. So I see two broad types of applications. I agree with the previous speakers on the importance of traceability in particular. So if you take any country, food safety, food transparency, these are very important aspects. And there we worked with some startups here in Seattle area and other parts of the US to develop, which were developing products like blockchain-based solutions to trace the journey of food from farm to fork. But we faced a lot of different types of challenges, and I think those challenges, if they exist in developed countries, US kind of setup, they'll definitely exist in a country like India. The first challenge is that the technology is there. You can develop the technology, but how do you bring the supply chain together? How do you bring the different actors in the supply chain together? Because there is a problem of incentivization. The players, the farmers, and the logistics, the transportation companies, and so on. Some of them, they would want to be part of this. They would want to be able to, others to be able to trace what they're doing, while some of them may not be interested in that. And this is literally what we faced in one of the companies, that we sometimes the farmers are willing to share because they know they're doing all the best practices. But then the transportation people, they say that, oh, our duty is only to take it from point A to point B. What happens between the 2 points is none of our concern. We don't worry about the temperature, humidity, and so on. So that was a major issue. How do you bring incentivization? And that also means that if you are revealing this entire information to the consumer, there could be a lot of bias. So consumers can actually look at two different products, two same product coming from two different companies. One of them could be like a completely transparent company, which has actually gone through all the blockchain processes. Another probably half transparent. Some processes they reveal, some they don't. Then the consumer gets confused. I mean, what we call as false negative, false positive kind of thing, where the consumer thinks that the product that has been completely transparent, if it has some negative aspects, some quality parameters are not up to the mark, the consumer may be rejecting that, as opposed to the product which has been half transparent, and the information that the product has hidden is all going to be crucial. But the consumer would think that this the half transparent product is good. So that is a challenge. So we cannot have these kind of different levels of transparency when we get into the system, because genuine players may get more affected. That has been an issue that we found there. But I think if we have, there have been solutions, like particularly when these things are initiated by the big companies like Nestle and Amazon, they partnered and they came up with a traceability solution for this coffee supply chain. So those kind of things are possible. Once they get into the game, then the smaller players also become more and more transparent. So that is one part of the puzzle that I looked at. The second aspect that we did some research on is the trade, international trade. So when you think about, let's say that India signs a free trade agreement with the UK or US, And because of that, the farmers get access to the UK market or US market to export their products. Let's say rice, for example. What happens is when you have these trade agreements, they have a clause saying that what do you call as rules of origin. So X% of the product should have been made in that particular country. So many exporters. This is more so for the value-added products, even within agriculture or agro-based products and so on. Many producers, exporters are so small that they cannot show how much of their inputs are coming from within India, within the country. So because of that reason, because of the sheer reason of not being able to produce a certification, many producers, agricultural producers, are not able to participate in the global markets. And export markets are generally more lucrative for the farmers. Again, coming back to the question of doubling the farmers' income, they need to be more integrated with the global value chain. Only if the farmers can export more to the global markets, they can survive and they can prosper. And in that context, blockchain can play an important role, because if government spends some money on setting up a blockchain network based product, which can be used by all the players, all the agricultural farmers and also other manufacturing players, to track where do they get things from. I mean, we don't have to track even the food safety. That is my previous point. Here I'm not even talking about safety, quality, transparency, and so on, but just the location, like where do the different inputs come from. If they can show that, let's say 80% or 90% is from India, then they will qualify for the trade deal, and they will get better access to some of these countries at a zero duty or low duty kind of status. So then they have greater market access, they can export more and so on. So what we found in our research was there could be substantial gain if all the trade agreements that countries sign are implemented in every single case of production and export. This can be facilitated by blockchain using this kind of traceability in terms of where things are coming and going. So these are the two broad things I wanted to discuss from our research and collaboration with startups which work on blockchain, and I think there is a tremendous opportunity in both aspects. In fact, there is also some overlap between the aspects, because if you have system to make sure that the food safety is certifiable using blockchain, then the exports also become easier. So in that sense, there is some synergy between these two different approaches. But with that, I'll take a pause, and if there are further questions, I can come back again. Thank you.
Sure, very well articulated, Badri. Actually, in fact, your research is, I'll say that, on the dot, because we have seen the challenges of when you are having unregulated transaction happening international trade, and blockchain can actually if I would not say that the government of India or a federal government should be doing it. It could be multilateral agencies. For example, the best example is for palm oil. They are exploring a blockchain-based solution. So the certification happens from an organization called ROSP based out of Geneva, Switzerland. And the participant like in Malaysia and Indonesia, all are now actually they're getting in line to ensure that the palm which we eat is not actually impacting the environment negatively. That's one example. A second example I would also like to talk about, where we a little bit of a divergent view of what you were saying. In one aspect, it is very market centric, because we have a company we work very closely with, Permanent, which actually certifying mangoes from India, and those mangoes are sold to Singapore with certification, blockchain based certification, and consumers are happy to pay a couple of dollars more to buy a certified product, knowing very well that what is the origin and what is the quality of the product. And as on the free trade, I'll say that a free trade on agriculture between India and US. Believe me, if I am a Commerce Minister of India, I would not go in that direction. So my next speaker would be Janet. Janet, actually, you are a data scientist. We have seen that awesome work you have been doing on both farming as well as aquaculture. So we would like to understand more, how you see blockchain helping your cattle fish, right, doing better in European market.
So just a little bit of background. So I'm actually a data scientist in fisheries initially, but I really switched towards agriculture recently. So now I'm using all my data science background to apply it on the sugarcane industry mainly. So I work for Fairagora Asia and Verificate. We have been working a lot on both environmental and social aspects to try to increase transparency in the supply chain, as well as support farmers to achieve certification. Currently, one of our projects is with USAID WinWork. So it's called Labor Transparency Project, and it's part of the Counter Trafficking in Person initiative. What we're doing right now is that we're providing a risk mapping on social areas for the farms and the mills, for sugarcane mainly. We also provide trainings to improve social key indicators. So we're using blockchain with caution. I am a blockchain enthusiast, but at the same time, I'm being very cautious. And I think what I wanted to point out today is trying to sort out what are the main benefits of blockchain for agriculture with a little focus on the social aspect and what are the risk area. So when we work with our farmers, our data show that most farmers in Thailand do not sign any written working agreement with their workers. Therefore, there's no protection for workers. If there's any disagreement on the salary or working hours, we actually have in the past encounters cases of workers not receiving salary even after working several months at a farm. So that's a big social issue. And whenever you think about certification schemes, whenever the farms want to sell their product internationally to all the buyers, obviously the social data points are also very important. So what we've been doing, we've developed a mobile application where the workers can declare working agreement. They just have to fill a simple set of data points like salary, working hours, contract start and end date, for example, and then they can choose to secure this in the blockchain and ask to their manager or to the farm owner to validate the document. So if they don't have anything written, they can just use the application to create a screenshot of the data point and then store it in the blockchain. Where we see blockchain for agriculture is we work a lot also with migrant workers, which means sometimes they have bank accounts that would be in their home country. Blockchain can enable easy transfer of money internationally without encountering big legislative issues. We also see that there's a big opportunity for micro-insurance, so which aims at protecting low-income people against risk. And this is definitely more feasible for blockchain. We also work a lot with smart contracts. The idea of smart contract is that the code will self-verify all the conditions and make sure that it has been met before executing the contract. And then you can then release payment only if the conditions have been met. You can have a list of validation procedures, for example, and then you have resistance to corruption because basically the smart contract can just self-execute by releasing the payment data as long as the conditions have been met. Somehow, when it comes to collecting sensitive data, trust is key. And we also believe that blockchain technology can create trust in digital data. At the same time, we face the issue that when we work with at-risk populations who might have lower level of education, this kind of digital data trust can have a counterproductive effect because the whole idea of blockchain can sometimes be very tricky to understand. And therefore, in the end, it can, instead of creating more trust, create less trust because for a farmer who's always been using paper, something that he can see, all of a sudden having all his data moving online in some kind of idea a concept that he doesn't understand can be very scary, basically. We do think that, there's a lot of hope for certification. as was mentioned before, like it can really tackle the issue of traceability, because you can verify at each point of the supply chain that all requirements have been met. So you basically, like, before you had all paper and ink, and now you just have like, you don't need this trusted authority anymore. You can just use blockchain to act both as an intermediary and as well as an enforcer. Where we have identified risk, and that's why for now we're using blockchain technology only for our working agreement feature and not for all our other data points, is that we care a lot about data privacy. Obviously, we handle a lot of data, and we're trying to really like follow the EU regulations. And one of the EU regulations is the right to be forgotten, which is basically it allows citizens the right to have their data never, like forever, to stop them to be forever propagated on the internet, basically, which is like the opposite of what the whole blockchain idea is, right? So to us, there's a risk on the data privacy part. We also see a risk whenever we work in certification. So we collect a lot of data on the ground with farmers, and then we use our human brain to do the whole verification process, as well as, of course, algorithm that we've been coding, and where we can verify that there's no issues. I think the danger is that blockchain can build trust in the system, but it can be a fake trust, which means if the raw data is corrupted, then the system that we trust so much ends up being wrong, because even if the algorithm just works perfectly, if your raw data is wrong, then you end up doing an illusion of verification. So that's also where, there's like some limits to this approach. And another point, and I will finish with this, as I said, we focus lately a lot on social aspects. So whenever you use blockchain technology, you can't really modify the protocol, which is like the rules that govern the system, right? And for social data, sometimes it's very hard to have like a very straightforward protocol and rules that say, okay, if the farm has any child labor, then it's gonna be red and it's not gonna pass with any certification process. Sometimes when we work with really smallholder farmers, small families, it's much more complex than that. You can have children that can help at the farm, and then you actually need to talk with them to know what's going on. Are the children going to school? Is it really just basic help? As it doesn't, are you sure that it's not dangerous for the children? And all these things, sometimes you actually need a human brain and someone to talk to the farmers and the workers to ensure these. Whereas if you only focus on the protocol, on the rules, without any human brain, then you can miss some insight of reality, basically. But
sure, awesome, very very well articulated, Juliette. I would just like to add, being practitioners for a blockchain and being involved in various projects at different level. First of all, blockchain is not like one size fit all, right? It's not God sent, right, which will solve all the problems. It does have its capability in few specific niche areas, definitely traceability being one of them. Parametric insurance, as you rightly said, micro insurance, parametric insurance is one, where if rain doesn't happen, people get paid, right? You don't need rocket science for that. A smart contract can reduce a lot of labor. So there are examples where blockchain would be super efficient. And yes, we cannot put it everywhere, right? For sure. So my next speaker, is Srinivas. Srinivas, actually, I also have been authored book for John Williamson, CIC Press, some of them. I always believe that actually you write a book when you are fed up with the subject. But I am pretty sure that you are more passionate than me, because last time I wrote about communication and 4G, that was my last book on telecommunication. We would love to hear from author like yours. And I believe there is huge value when people write about things, because it gives a new perspective for people like us who are practitioners. Floor is yours, sir. So you're on mute.
Told story because, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Fine. Yeah, I wrote my first book on blockchain, The Untold Story, in around 2018, because I'm a member of CIO Club, where a lot of my CIO friends were asking me what is blockchain. They wanted to know. To explain them well, I was reasonably passionate about it, and I read myself a lot. And then I wanted to, instead of explaining each and every one, I thought, let me write a book and then give it to everybody so that it's easy for them to understand. And that's how my blockchain. And then after writing the book, I got more and more sucked into this blockchain world, and I started working on Center of Excellences and continuously been working on blockchain for the past 4 years. And in my previous job, I was working as a blockchain lead at NISG, which is promoted by Government of India and NASSCOM. That's where I got exposed to a lot of large projects. And the Government of India has been extensively pushing, our digital agriculture with a view to doubling the farmer income. And they have told all the states that in future you'll be getting, last March ending, they said all the money, whatever is left for the year, will be spent only on emerging technologies and then implementation for agriculture, boosting agricultural productivity. That is where, you got engaged with a lot of states, and Madhya Pradesh being one of them, wherein they were very keen to implement a blockchain in, for doubling the farmer income. And we evaluated more than 15 use cases of blockchain in agriculture, and almost all the global case studies we have thoroughly analyzed. We had multiple rounds of discussions with them and various levels of examination of all the use cases and their utility. And what was felt was the fundamental problems that they were facing was duplication of data, and a lot of data of farmers or any actor. They're all duplicated across various departments, and they're all operating in silos. So what they wanted was a single source of truth, and and also very high quality of data. Plus, they also wanted to eliminate a lot of middlemen who were actually adding a lot of time, cost, wastages, and by offering some sort of trust, but they were not doing the justice. They were leading to huge increase in the pricing of the ultimate product. So Government of India is very much interested in eliminating middlemen, and that is how they also enacted this farm laws, etc. It's one of the first steps. So these are, and another important thing is Government of India wanted to promote organic products. Means anything that is premium. They don't want all the farmers to produce the same Me Too items ending up with surplus and they having to buy at a minimum price, while they wanted all the farmers to produce whatever is premium, whatever is required. So they wanted to connect all the actors on a distributed ledger so that data can be easily shared, and then analytics can be applied to forecast the demand or to assess the demand versus supply scenarios, then guide the farmers and nudge them, explaining them how it will be more profitable for them, to produce, high quality and organic products where they can get at least 25% to 30% premium. And especially if you are able to prove that organic nature by using of blockchain technologies. Our analysis has told that in China, people were getting, same organic product, if it is backed by blockchain, they were getting 27% more than, another organic product that was sold by another firm, which was not covered by blockchain. So that way you can, by leveraging also producing premium products, plus also implementing blockchain, you can get much, higher remuneration for your efforts. So that is how we have extensively worked and across the value chain. But the problem is the Government of India's policy is not yet out totally clear about the usage of blockchain. So there are not much budgets available. So whatever budgets are there are all for POCs and pilots. But not much for large-scale implementation. We are waiting for the final well-articulated policy that has to come from Government of India, and then a lot of budgets would flow into this implementation of blockchain. And another thing is, because blockchain is a multi-party activity, in India we are very good at doing individual things, analytics, AI, ML, and all, wherein decisions could be taken by a few people. But here, when large number of organizations are involved and the costs have to be incurred, and returns are not very clear initially. Okay, then it requires long-term perspective, and for that, the Indian governments are not yet fully prepared. Some of the visionary governments, like Telangana, Maharashtra, or Karnataka, they have been looking at experimenting with blockchain, implementation, and Madhya Pradesh, they've been, in various use cases. But we require to do a lot of education. That is the reason why now I have left NISG in March, because I wanted to do my own startup. So I've been extensively involved in consulting, and we are in the process. We are engaging with 3 companies for implementing blockchain consortiums. One of them being Aditya Birla Group company. They had a product called Eternity. which is a premium aluminum door, and one of them is Atomberg Technologies, which also manufactures premium energy efficient appliances. And interestingly, another one is an Indo-Israeli joint venture in agriculture that's called Heirloom Seedling and Plant Private Limited, which produces hybrid seeds, and they are interested in having a good traceability for all their seeds from the initial stages till the time it ends up with the final actor. So we are working in incidentally all of them happen to be supply chain and traceability of especially premium quality products. So that is where there seems to be high value that could be easily perceptible to the customers, because they can see that they can get a good premium, and they can also eliminate any fake products, fake seeds, fake replicas that infiltrate. So
thanks.
Yeah, so
thanks, Mr. Srinivas. Thanks a lot. I would go back to Rohini ji because she didn't got appropriate time in the starting. She was very humble to keep her intervention very short. Ma'am, actually, my question to you is that I've been interacting with a lot of people working in Microsoft on agriculture technology. So working from white space to Wi-Fi based sensor, we have been doing awesome work. I would like to understand, while a lot of other companies, typically your competitive companies, your peers like SAP to IBM, they have been very vocal about what they're doing in blockchain. How do you see Microsoft playing a role? Because I believe end of the day, it is gonna get cannibalized by large tech companies. And where does you see Microsoft playing a role?
So no, thank you for coming back. Look, I think one I would like to say that as a technology platform provider, we look at our role as providing the platform for others to build products and technologies and solutions on top of. So from whether it's blockchain or any other artificial intelligence or any of these technologies, it's a partner conversation. So we are working with our partner network across the world, whether it is some of the technology companies, system integrators, or the advisory companies, or startups that are working in this space, who are building on the Microsoft platform to get the scale and the compute and the cloud benefits of it, right? So that's, I think, the role that we are playing in this space as well. And I think the important elements to understand is that we don't believe in not to use the word that you use, cannibalize. That is not the idea at all. The idea is to empower. The idea is to provide a platform that others can build on top of, and that's what the role of partners play for us. And startups play that role, because startups require a space to scale, to be able to go global, to have the trust and security and all the elements that the cloud provides. So that is the role that Microsoft is looking to play in the world of blockchain. We are working with the top blockchain companies around the world, both at the infrastructure level, as technology level, and solutions level, whether it is agriculture or any other sector, to build technology, build solutions which help the end consumer, the farmer, etc. And I think that is the fundamental role. So we don't expect us to be sort of the end-to-end. We provide that, as I said, the underlying platform to build technologies on top of. So I think the big element which I was hearing earlier from my co-panelists in terms of the end user benefits on transparency, on trust, on the ability of fairness to the end consumer, the farmer. I think those are the ones that we would also subscribe to say that help our partners build using the Microsoft cloud. So I think the element that becomes is that as these ecosystems have to work together, because there are multiple different ecosystems involved in the agriculture world, not just within the country, but also globally, as the co-panelists mentioned, especially on the trade agreements part, etc. Right? So there, the ability to have a cloud that can scale globally is a major help, because then you are able to work across boundaries and across different industry domains as well as geographical domains.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. As a moderator, I have to provoke. So that was the reason for talking about cannibalism. Thanks for clarifying that. And now we have come towards the the end of this awesome session, where we had intervention from all the experts giving their perspective, and definitely everybody talked about government, because blockchain governance and governments, they go hand in hand. But I've been working with a lot of governments across the globe. One thing I have seen is that they want only others to be transparent. I hope if we are able to solve that, blockchain will fly in agriculture. Thanks a lot to all the panelists, and it was a pleasure hosting this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. This brings us to the end of this very insightful and enlightening session on new era of traceability in global agro supplies and management through blockchain. Let me thank moderator Deepak Pareek, Nabarun, Bhattacharya, Dr. Rohini, Srivathsa, Juliette, Alemany, Badri, Narayanan, Gopalakrishnan, Sorcha, Mulligan, she couldn't join, and Srinivas, Mahankali. With this, we'll take a short break, and do join us for the variety session at 4 p.m. today. We'll have a special guest from Netherlands, as well as a guest from India itself, who is a civil servant, but is a blockchain enthusiast. Do join us for that session at 4 p.m. today. Thank you so much.